other than that, the bike's pretty much identical.
Okay.
Oh, it has a tiny little screen on it as well, but I've taken that off anyway.
Yeah.
So we're kind of creeping up into the hills now.
Yeah, this I would say is more of a scenic route. I suppose, Carl, people might be watching in the UK, you know, and be thinking, how can these two be friends, you know? One's from Lancashire, one's from Yorkshire. Never the twain shall meet. It was a long time ago. The war.
It was when I stumbled on your YouTube channel and you kept saying, hey up. No, how do. You kept saying how do to everybody.
Yeah.
Going the other way.
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious.
I mean, they obviously hear you, don't they?
Because yeah, none of them replied though, did they? It's funny you talking about discovering motorcycles at the age of whatever you said. I was still at school when I discovered motorcycles.
I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say. Sorry, Carl. I thought you were going to say you were still at school when I said that.
No, well, no. You've thrown me now.
You were still at school when you were, you know.
Yeah, a good mate of mine. I went round to his house one night and completely out of the blue, he said, "Hey, come and look at this." And we go into the garage, and he got a motorbike, a little 50cc Suzuki.
Yep.
And I said, "Whose is that?" And he said, "It's mine." I said, "No, give over." He said, "Yeah, it is. He just got it last night or something,
Yeah.
you know." I said, "Really?" And I couldn't believe that his dad had let him have a bike.
Yeah.
He'd not said anything to me. I didn't know it was coming. It must have been in the pipeline for a while. But he was slightly older than me, so he was able to ride. We would be 16. So he got this bike, and he got his provisional license, and he could ride it. And I was amazed, first of all, that he hadn't told me about it. But then he let me have a go on it, and I've never ridden a bike before, and of course, well, the fact that you didn't have to pedal was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I wanted one, and then that then started lots of arguments in our house with my mum and dad saying, "No, you're not having one," and rah rah rah, and that went on for quite a long time, quite a few weeks, and eventually they caved in and they let me have one.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. Yeah. And I do remember one of the strange things I remember is when I got exactly the same bike as Ian had, but mine was red, his was yellow. So a little 50cc Suzuki, and I set off. I got my provisional license, and I set off. And I suddenly realised once you could move around without pedalling, so you were getting to the end of each street a lot quicker. I suddenly realised I didn't know my way around as well as I thought I did. You'd go flying down the road to the end, and then suddenly think, "Oh God, where am I? Which way is it from here?" I kept getting lost. I suppose on a push bike you've got a lot more time to think about it, haven't you?
Yeah, I suppose so. It's like me when I first came to Australia and first obviously trying to get familiar with the roads, because there's no major landmarks as such. Very different obviously the towns in the UK. You've got churches and, you know, various things that you recognise and you know you're in a particular town maybe, or finding your way around. Here in WA, in Perth, the suburbs are very similar. I was always lost.
Yep.
I used to work about half an hour away down a place called Welshpool, maybe even a 50-minute ride, and the times I got lost trying to find my way back home, it was quite embarrassing actually. I must have been in 1.5 hours one time. Got home, Catherine says, "Where have you been?" And what am I going to say? I mean, what excuse can you give which doesn't sound rubbish, you know?
I went for a wander round.
So I just said, I got lost. She's like, "Oh, it's still," and this is like 6 months, probably after we were still, you know, when you're supposed to actually have some sort of idea where you are. Not me. My sense of direction's pretty bad.
The best thing that we ever did when we arrived here in 2007, we had to go straight to the bank to open a bank account, and then we went straight to JB Hi-Fi and bought a sat nav.
Yeah.
Went and bought a TomTom, and that just solved all the problems. But the weird thing was, for a few years, if we didn't have the sat nav, we had no idea where we were going, because you don't learn.
No.
You don't bother learning. You just look at the sat nav and, you know,
And
do what it
that's
tells
true.
you.
And when was it when you drove into that river? That was a few years back, wasn't it? That's not true, I just made that up.
What do you put in your bike? 95?
98, and again, that's a whole debate, isn't it? I don't know. I tend to put 98 in.
I always use 98, but a lot of people use 95.
Yeah, and this bike, I don't know about yours, but mine is, it's okay for 91, the rubbish stuff. But
Right, no, I wouldn't use that.
No. They spit in it, don't they? So yeah, 98 is supposed to help to clean your engine a bit more, isn't it? And it's supposed to be more fuel efficient. It costs more, but in the long run, if you use it, you get more miles or kilometres to a, you know, to a run.
Yeah, so they say. So they say.
But it could be just marketing.
But, yeah.
We're obviously suckers for it.
Yeah. I put 95 in the car.
Yeah, okay.
But I always put 98 in the bike.
See, I'm still the same with the car, you know, we stick 98 in there as well. To be honest, of late, when it's been expensive fuel prices, we have put 95 in the car. Again, definitely not 91 in there.
No.
I mean, people swear by 91, they said they've had no troubles, no problems, but I suppose it's mixed in it. Some people say you keep doing that, then you'll stuff your engine up, but I mean, it's supposed to be decent fuel anyhow, isn't it? It's all being provided by professional, you know, petroleum companies.
I can't remember, somebody told me a few months ago, I can't even remember who it was now, but they'd had some problems with the car. They took it to the family mechanic, and the long and short of it was, the problem that they were having, he said, was caused by cheap fuel. And he told them to put 98 in it for the next couple of fills, and he cleaned something out, I don't know what he did, and they ran it on 98 for a bit and it was perfect, and so he put that down to cheap fuel.
Okay.
So there must be something in it, mustn't there, or you know, there must be some truth to it.
But you'd expect it to be, wouldn't you? You know, like a budget fuel, and then obviously mid-range and then top end, you know.
Yeah, it's got to be, yeah, it's got to be. Mustn't burn as clean, must it?
Yeah. Which then leaves crap in your engine, doesn't it? You know, carbon and all the rest. And obviously, if it's in places it shouldn't be, then that's when you get problems in your valves.
Yeah.
Look at us two pretending what we know about motorcycles and engines, eh?
Yeah, making it up. Making it up as we go along.
This guy wants a lift. No worries, mate. If I had my spare helmet. Good job I didn't have my rear camera on, actually. I think he might have given me the you know what. That's not like me, actually. I don't normally do things like that. It's Carl that brings the bad boy out of me.
It's the rebel. It's the rebel.
It's not even the rebel without a cause, it's just the clueless rebel. We're actually not too far off now, are we, I think? We're not far there. Yeah.
No, we're nearly there. Just up around this next couple of ends.
So if you've enjoyed this bit of rambling between two mad men, then Carl, he has his own channel as well. He has a channel called Handlebars and Holidays. So I'll actually put a description or a link to his channel as well, so you can see what he gets up to. He actually does motorcycle reviews as well. So various motorcycles. He does Harleys, Triumphs, Yamaha. So yeah. What's your latest? What isn't that?
The latest one I've not even started editing yet is the Suzuki GSX S1000.
There you go.
which I've done the filming. I've just not had a chance to start editing yet.
So yeah, I'll pop a link in the description or somewhere on my channel, and I'm sure Carl will drop a link in for the Naked Bikers somewhere on his channel or on for his next vlog or
Absolutely.
somewhere. He'll make us visible.
Okay, here we go.
Alright, well, with that, I think I'll say it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from
Goodbye from me.
Carl.
Goodbye.
So yeah, thanks for watching.